China, the fourth largest country in the world, and one of the oldest inhabited regions of Asia. Recent evidence suggests that humans have lived within the boundaries of modern China for a couple of million years, and over time their population has exploded to almost 1.5 billion in 2019. So it's no wonder that the Chinese people have their fair share of creepy stories to tell, which is why tonight we'll take a look at 5 of the creepiest Chinese urban legends that are nothing short of pure nightmare fuel. Hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. The Jiangshi. The vampire is one of the most recognisable monsters in modern media, thanks primarily to Bela Lugosi's portrayal of Count Dracula in the 1931 film. But the legend of the vampire itself is far more widespread than what most fans of the Transylvanian Count might know. Among the oldest of these legends is the Jiangshi, referred to as the hopping ghost. This vampire-like entity is said to have been created when a demon enters the corpse of a recently deceased person who has been killed by violent means or suicide. The reason the Jiangshi is referred to as the hopping ghost is due to the stiffness and pain of it being a rotting corpse. So it's said that instead of walking as it would when it was once alive, it hops instead. Although this may sound humorous, the Jiangshi is nothing to laugh at. Jiangshi are incredibly vicious and are constantly starving for blood. They have incredible strength and enjoy tearing into their victims with long, sharp fingernails, jagged teeth, and foul breath. The destruction of the Jiangshi has many similarities with Western vampires, as it's commonly accepted that garlic or salt will ward them off. Other ways of dispatching the Jiangshi include letting sunlight touch its pale skin, stabbing it with a sword made from the wood of a peach tree, or strangely, throwing the urine of a virgin boy at it. In the 17th century, Pu Sung-ling, an accomplished writer, wrote a short story which he titled The Resuscitated Corpse, that details the savageness of the Jiangshi. The story begins with 4 merchants who stop at an inn to rest for the night. The innkeeper informs them that he has no rooms or beds available for rent at the moment. The merchants say that they are not willing to sleep on the floor and will pay handsomely for whatever space he can afford. The innkeeper agrees and takes the men to the barn outside, where his daughter-in-law's corpse had been laid out, awaiting a funeral. Not dissuaded by the body, the merchants quickly fall asleep. However, in the middle of the night, the corpse comes to life and attacks all of the sleeping men, except for one. He had been unable to sleep, and when he heard the creature coming for him, he ran out of the barn. The Jiangshi chased after him, arms outstretched, ready to feed on his blood. The man took cover under a willow tree, and while trying to catch his breath, the creature charged at him. He dodged the incoming attack, which caused the Jiangshi to sink its claws into the trunk of the tree, trapping it. Out of sheer terror, the merchant fainted. When he came to in the morning, the Jiangshi was gone. He then returned to the barn near the inn to find the 3 other merchants dead and the corpse of the daughter-in-law in the same spot and position as when he first arrived, although now she was covered in blood. The innkeeper later confessed that the woman had died 6 months prior and that they were waiting for the right time to bury her. Nian. Chinese New Year is a festival held over the course of several days and is a celebration of the return of spring. Millions of Chinese people around the world celebrate the return in a variety of ways. Families get together for large meals, dancing and fireworks to spread good fortune, happiness and longevity. However, not all festivities are cheerful. At one time, deep in the tallest mountains of China, resided a legendary beast known as the Nian. For most of the year, it stayed within the mountains and left the local villages to their daily routines. But as the seasons turned from warm to cold, some villagers dreaded the coming of the new year, because with it brought the monster that has the body of a bull and the head of a lion. At the beginning of the new year, when food has become scarce, the Nian left the mountains in search of food, and would enter villages to feast upon stores of crops, livestock, and even children. Residents of these villages would prepare entire meals and leave them outside their doors, to ensure the Nian was fed enough and would spare their lives. Soon the villagers discovered that the Nian was afraid of the colour red, loud noises and fire. And so, at the start of the new year, the villagers started to decorate their homes in red, lit red lanterns and hung them up on wires between each of the homes, whilst playing loud music while parading through the village. As expected, the Nian avoided the village entirely. From that point on, the villagers passed their knowledge of fending off the Nian to neighbouring villages, who passed the knowledge through the generations. Nowadays, what were once defences from a great and terrible beast are now the traditions of Chinese revellers the world over. Wangliang. With films like The Conjuring and The Exorcist, the Western world is quite familiar with the notion of demons or demonic forces. While these evil spirits can be found in cultures throughout the world, it's in China that we find one of the most brutal. To the Chinese, a demon is known as a Wangliang, and while over centuries there have been different interpretations from writers of every generation, the word used to mean one single entity. Wanglians are believed to live among mountain ranges, within rivers, or lurking graveyards. Other sources claim that they can reside within inanimate objects, such as rocks or trees. Descriptions of the Wangliang can vary widely, depending on the environment in which the demon resides. Some chroniclers claim it looks like a human, but with only one leg. Others say it looks like a dragon when swimming in a river, or like a three-legged turtle. The most popular interpretation is that it looks like a 3-year-old, brown-skinned child with red eyes and fair hair. Whatever it may look like, the Wanglian is known to feed on the brain or liver of corpses and can spread malaria to the living. The Weretiger. Much like the legend of the vampire has universally taken on different forms across different cultures throughout the world, the legends of men and women shapeshifting into various animals has also found a global stage. Like the werewolf of Europe, Chinese legends tell of humans who can transform into tigers. And although there may be a difference in how and why one may become a werewolf, both the werewolf and the weretiger share an insatiable bloodthirst. Although it's believed that tales of the weretiger began in India, it did not stop them bleeding into various neighbouring cultures throughout Eastern and Southeastern Asia. Some ancient teachings among the Han Chinese believed that the ghosts of people who had been killed by tigers would become malevolent demonic spirits that would use all their energy to ensure tigers would kill more people. As time progressed, however, it became evident that men and women who had been wronged by another would invoke the power and strength of the tiger to become one themselves and take revenge on those who harmed them. It's said that this could be done in multiple ways, either using sorcery or in a ritualistic fashion. Once an individual has acquired the power of the weretiger, it can be labelled as a curse, for the ability to transform is hereditary. And so new generations, completely innocent to the affairs of their ancestors, are now forced to struggle with near uncontrollable power. Strangely enough, females are more likely to have the curse, though it's typically understood that werewolves require the full moon to change their shape. Weretigers do not require lunar influence. They can transform on a nightly basis and only revert to their human form when the sun rises above the horizon. There are 2 common ways a person may identify as a weretiger. One involves looking at a tiger's paw. If there are 5 toes instead of 4, it's likely a weretiger. The other involves looking at a person's back. If there is a black dot on the suspected person's lower back, they are indeed a weretiger, for that is the spot where the tiger's tail falls off when reverting to human form. The Jewuan. Rape is one of the most horrific crimes imaginable, sparking fear in both men and women alike. Throughout the centuries, thousands of stories have been written detailing the physical and psychological horror of such a depraved act. Out of China comes the legend of the Jueyuan, which is a human-like animal that lives in the mountains to the southeast of Shuhan. These animals are described as looking like a large monkey, standing just over 5 feet, or 152 centimeters. They walk and sometimes act like humans, and are known to aggressively kidnap women travelling through their territory. It is then that they force themselves upon these women, so that the women may become pregnant and give birth to their offspring children. It's believed the Jueyuan are all males, which is why they take females as breeding partners. After a few years in captivity, the women and their children would be free to return to their homes. The children conceived between the human and the Jueyuan would have all the characteristics of a normal human child, and when fully grown into an adult, they appear to show no physical or mental signs of their animal fathers, and supposedly became as indistinguishable as anyone else within their village. So that's 5 nightmarish Chinese urban legends. Of course, these are nothing more than tales passed down from generations, but are still terrifying nonetheless, and still widely believed in some communities. We hope you've enjoyed, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.